and gentlemen. Today is a beautiful spring day, lovely sunshine outside, no clients because of the coronavirus or virus. And so what better day than to start doing some online cooking classes. So this is the beginning of usually the 7-day class, 7-day program that we do here at our cooking school with our apartments, with clients staying in our apartments, including some tours to Parma to see how to produce prosciutto and Parmigiano Reggiano, and also the balsamic vinegar. And we'll be doing lots of different classes. So today we're going to talk about the origins of Italian cuisine. So how did it all start? It all started about 3,000 years ago with the arrivals of the Greeks in southern Italy. They invaded, which is now Puglia, Calabria, Sicilia, Naples, halfway up to Rome. Now the Greeks found that the terrain in southern Italy was very similar to that in Greece, mountainous, rocky, not a lot of flat land, not a lot of rainfall. So they had experience already with this kind of weather and terrain, and they planted plants that they were familiar with, and they were olive trees and grapes. So the grapes and olive trees like hillsides, they like good exposure to the sunshine. That's why a southern exposed hillside is very desirable for wine production. So they stayed in southern Italy about 500 years, and in this time they planted a lot of olive trees and a lot of grapes. 500 years later, the Romans, the Roman Empire became more powerful, conquered southern Italy, kicked the Greeks out, went on to conquer all of the Mediterranean area, including Greece, which is Turkey, Middle East, and Egypt, Tunis, and Algeria, and Morocco. They also conquered all the other nations in the Mediterranean area, including France, Greece, and Portugal. Of course, they were not called that in those days. They were mostly like tribal people living there. This name is only given in recent history. When the Romans arrived in southern Italy, they found that they had a lot of these, gray-green looking trees with no flowers. And so they said, what do you do with all these trees? Why do you plant all these trees in southern Italy? She says, well, we planted them to make oils. What? You make oil with the tree, you crazy? You make oil with the pig. You take a pig and you raise it for a year, and then you kill it, and then you cook it for 3 days, and that's how you have the oil, the fat from the pig. That's the oil. She says, no, said the Greeks, it's much easier with the tree. You don't have to feed it for a year, you don't have to mark it out. You just go in November, collect the olives, crush them, and you have the oil. So the Romans said, really? That easy? Oh my God. And of course, just like that. Oh my goddess, that would be in Latin. And they said, that's easy. And what about all the grapes? Why didn't you plant some apples, pears, peaches, apricots, cherries? They all ripen at different times, but the grapes, they all ripen at the same time, and after you pick them, 1 week and they're gone. And so you have all your harvest wasted. Yes, you're right, said the Greeks, but the grapes are not for eating, they're for winemaking. Says the Romans. Winemaking, we like that. Oh, we like wine. Oh, that's nice. And so they said, how do you plant these? Where do you plant them? Well, we plant them in places where it's rocky soil, muddy, and clay, and places where really other vegetables are very difficult to grow because there's too many rocks. And but this kind of plants like that. So we got lots of places like that all over the Roman Empire. And so the Romans did things in large scale, and they gave order to plant olive trees and grapes all over the Roman Empire. And they have discovered huge Roman cellars all over Europe. Most recently in Germany, near the Moselle and Rhine River, they found some ancient Roman cellars where they would produce wine in huge quantities, even by today's standards. and this wine will get shipped to Rome for their parties and orgies, because the Romans were the original party animals. They knew how to have fun. But this was only true for the rich Romans, because the rich Romans would drink and eat to their heart's content, get drunk and all that. But for the average person, the wine was not for celebrating. It was like food, because by making wine out of the grapes, basically you preserve the liquid which is resulting, which still contains about 85% of the original calories, in the form of wine, sugar and alcohol inside the wine. And this lasts about a year until the next harvest, if you keep it cold. And for the average poor citizen of the Roman Empire, the wine was a supplement, a food supplement, especially in the winter time when there was nothing green growing. So having a glass of wine with your meal would add much needed calories and antioxidants, which the wine, as you know, contains. So in Roman times, they did not have sugar as we know it today. They had either natural honey or a syrup called sava. So this syrup is made out of grape juice, and is made in Modena. So in Modena they pick the grapes, and then they cook the juice for 3 days until it's quite dense, and then they put it in barrels for shipping to Rome, for example, or for use in other parts of Italy. But the Romans were famous for using this product called sava. So one day somebody forgot a barrel of the syrup in an attic. Maybe they moved or something, but this barrel got forgotten in an attic in the heat in the summer and the cold in the winter. And when they found it, of course, there might be a problem with it. I can imagine the owner or the head of the family finding this barrel of very expensive syrup that the Romans were looking for, and says, "Who the hell left this barrel here? Are you crazy? Maybe, I hope it's still okay. It's supposed to be in the cellar where it's cool. Here it's hot and cold. It's not good. Let me taste it." Oh my God, it's become vinegar. Nice vinegar though. So they decided to use that vinegar, which was much sweeter than the regular wine vinegar, for their salads and other preparations. As time went by, the vinegar became denser and more delicious, acquired the flavor of the wood. Then other families found out about this, and they started making their own. So some people aged it in oak, some people aged it in juniper, some people aged it in mulberry, and so on and so forth. And then later on they found that if they mix the vinegars, they would get a more complex flavor. So they also, nowadays we have the traditional balsamic vinegar, the tradizionale, which is only sold in this round bottle. And this is made by aging the vinegar for 12 years minimum, and aged it in barrels made of 5 different woods, which is oak, cherry, juniper, mulberry, and another one I can't remember. Chestnut. And every year they move a little bit of the vinegar from one barrel to the next, and they refill the first barrel, which is the biggest one, and every year it concentrates a little more. Concentrates a little more for 12 years until you have this vinegar, which is no longer suitable for salad because it's too sweet, and has the concentrations of about 60 or 70 liters of, 120 liters of grape juice. So a lot of antioxidants in there and sweetness. So this is delicious on Parmesan cheese, on steak, on grilled vegetables, on risotto. There's many uses for it. Also as a digestive. In Modena, after dinner, they have a little teaspoon of this 12 years old or 25 years old balsamic vinegar as a digestive. It helps to digest. Here we have also a 5 years old balsamic vinegar, which is quite thick already. One of the best uses for balsamic vinegar, this kind especially, is on strawberries and ice cream, with a little grating of black pepper. and it's quite delicious. Sounds unusual, but it's been done for hundreds of years, maybe 1,000. And so it's one way to prove that they're wrong. I have tried it and I use it all the time and it's delicious. Now this vinegar is made with only one ingredient, grape juice. And it's very different from the supermarket vinegar, which you buy in the store, and it's quite cheap. So you can see that it's quite thin, and this one is usually made with at least 3 ingredients. If you look at the label and it has 3 ingredients, that's good, but often it has 5 or 6, meaning antioxidants and preservatives. So this one only has caramelized grape juice, which is this one, has red wine vinegar, which it has to have because it has to be sour, and also some caramel for adding the color. So this one is okay. So this is not this is good and this is bad. This is different. It's a different product. So this one here you can use for salad and it's quite delicious, as long as you make sure it only has 3 ingredients. So it's or all you want if you can get it. I have it, but most people will find this one in the supermarket. Now, one of the most important ingredients, like for example, in Roman times, they did not have bread as we know it today. They had a flat bread without yeast, which looked like a tortilla. And they used to make it over a hot stone or in a hot plate or in a hot oven, but it had no yeast, so it wasn't soft. So it was nice while it was hot, but after half an hour, it will become brittle and not very tasty. So when the Romans invaded Egypt, they found that in Egypt they grew a wheat called farro, and along the river Nile, and they had lots of pyramids, lots of gold, and the beautiful queen, Cleopatra. So Caesar was really happy with this conquest, and he said to his lieutenant Marcus, wow, we got ourselves a really good deal this time. We got gold, pyramids for the tourists, and wheat to make bread with, and the beautiful queen, Cleopatra. So Caesar said, yeah, that's great, wow, wonderful, says Marcus. So Caesar discovered that Cleopatra was in danger of being assassinated by her brother Ptolemaeus. And so he imprisoned Ptolemaeus and his followers because Cleopatra was the rightful queen of Egypt and installed her as the queen of Egypt. So Cleopatra was very grateful for having been saved by Caesar, and gave a big dinner, a big buffet for Caesar and his generals, with all kinds of goodies on the table. They had camel, sheep, goat, crocodile, goose, they had fish from the Nile, they had all kinds of goodies like melons and other tropical fruits that they would grow in Egypt. And they also had on the table some soft bread buns. So Caesar was very attracted by these soft bread buns, and so when Cleopatra got up to leave the table, he said to Cleopatra, "Oh, Cleopatra, I really like your buns." And she said, "Oh, thank you, Caesar, but nobody said that to me before." "Oh, it is, yeah, well, I do like your buns, but I meant the bread buns on the table. And how do you make them so soft?" I said, "Well, listen, I'm the queen of Egypt. Do you think I know how to make bread? Go to the market and find out." So Caesar sent one of his men to the market to find out how they made this bread. And basically what had happened, maybe 1,000 years before, or longer or shorter, somebody had forgotten a piece of dough in a basket or a bowl, which was simply flour and water, because most bread was simply flour and water. And so it was forgotten for a few days, and after a few days it had fermented. When they found it, it was a little bit sour, but it wasn't moldy or anything. So they said, well, you can't throw this away, let's put it in with the rest of the dough, nobody will know. So they mixed it in with the rest of the dough, and of course the next morning when they went to make the bread, it had fermented, it had risen. And so they put it in the oven, and the bread came out soft. So the people said, wow, we like this new bread you're making today, nice and soft, delicious. Can you make some more? So once they figured out what had happened, they then started using the previous day's dough to make the next day's bread, as a starter. Then they found that if they kept some aside and kept feeding it and not consuming it all, it would get stronger, 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 and will make a better bread and make a softer and faster rising and make delicious bread. And that was the beginning of natural yeast, or as they call it in San Francisco, sourdough or sourdough starter. We call it natural yeast. So this is delicious. It takes longer than the baker's yeast you can find in the supermarket, whether it is fresh or dried. But it is more digestible and it gives a lovely aroma to the bread. So the Caesar said, well, this wheat grows really well and the bread is delicious. So he gave order to plant wheat all over the Roman Empire. So they had already grapes, they had already olive oil, which had become a staple, and now bread. So he built also a bread oven in every village, and bread became a staple of the Romans' diet. And the Roman Empire lasted about 1,000 years. So at the beginning of the first second millennium, so that means 1100, 1200, the Roman Empire started to fall apart and broke up in small and big pieces. And during Roman times, pretty much like in the European Union or in America, goods between the states were not charged duty. So you could make, iron where there was a lot of iron ore, and make tools and armor and weapons, whatever. Or you could make pottery where there was clay, or you make wooden furniture where there was a lot of wood. And it would get shipped all over the Roman Empire because it was cheaper that way. But when the Roman Empire split into small and big states, even city-states, everybody started charging duty on all the goods that were traveling. So things, every time they collected 5, 10, 15% every time they passed through some cities, and something coming, from Spain, which cost 10 sestertium, by the time it got to Rome it was 1,000, because it was so expensive, it was unaffordable, nobody could buy it. So all trading stopped, all manufacturing stopped, and there was a huge recession, which lasted a couple of hundred years in the Roman Empire. So people, the poor people, who were very poor anyway, they had a problem buying bread, because bread was made in the village oven, and the village oven is a business. So they have to make a profit. They have to buy the wood, they have to buy the flour, they have to make the oven, they have to employ people to make the wood, and they have to make a little profit. So bread became unaffordable because they had no cash. So people found that they could buy the flour for 10 times less the price of the bread, and they knead it with a little water, roll it into sheets, cut it into strips, and boil it in boiling water with a little salt. And they get the same calories for 10 times less the price. So because of the Roman Empire falling apart and people becoming poorer, pasta was born. So pasta was a poor man's dish because they couldn't afford bread. So they started adding to their stews, to their other ingredients that they would make, and mix it up, And that was the beginning of pasta, and what Italy is famous for, the pasta. So this is how it all started. It was mostly used around the Naples area and Rome, but later on it became much more popular. So we now have all the ingredients that we need to make good Italian cuisine. We have olive oil, we have wine, we have vinegar, we have herbs, but we're still missing some ingredients which make Italian cuisine what it is nowadays. But these ingredients did not come from Italy, they are not local. And the most important one, of course, is tomatoes. Okay? Tomatoes came from Mexico, and they were imported by the Spanish in 1600 and planted near Naples in in a town called San Marzano, which is still famous today for the tomatoes. It's a DOP name, and when you see San Marzano tomatoes on the can, you know you're getting a really good product. So tomatoes arrived in Naples, and the local people started liking them right away, and they started adding them to their sauce, to their pasta. And just tomato, garlic, and basil is delicious already. But they are adding it, to their calamari, to their clams, to their mussels, to their meat sauce that they might be making, or something with pancetta. Then it made pasta so much more interesting. This pasta started to spread throughout Italy after that. Other things that came from Mexico are chilies and peppers. And so the hot chilies, of course, they changed the world's history because of cuisine. Because can you imagine Thai food or Thai food or Indian food without chilies? Very different, huh? And Italian food without tomatoes? Impossible. So from Mexico also came corn, and with corn in Italy we make polenta, and that has kept three of our northern Italian regions from starving for the last 500 years. That is Veneto region, Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and Trentino, which are three regions bordering with Austria. So, and they've eaten almost nothing but polenta for the last 400 or 500 years. And they even put it in the cappuccino, which when I heard about it, I was amazed. Flabbergasted would be the best better word. Other things that came from Mexico, of course, apart from the chilies and the tomatoes, was chocolate. Chocolate was made famous by the British, first as a beverage, and then as a dessert by the Belgians, who are specialized in this. Mexico has given a lot to Italy, including Garibaldi, which was a soldier in Egypt, and then came to Italy to unify the north and the south. So other things that came from Italy that made a big difference is potatoes. Potatoes came from Central America, from Bolivia and Peru, and after an initial skepticism by the population, they were adopted, and they kept most of Europe from going extinct, because without potatoes there would be no Poles left, no Germans, no Dutch. Half of the Belgians would be gone because one half eats French fries and the other one eats mussels. A third of the French would be gone, and all the British and all the Irish would be extinct. And in Italy we would have a problem on Thursday, because on Thursday we eat gnocchi, and without potatoes there would be no gnocchi, so we wouldn't know what to eat on a Thursday. So in the old days we would go, oh, today's Thursday, what are we going to make? Well, we make soup on Monday, we make rice on Tuesday, we make pasta on Wednesday. What are we going to make today? So now we know, Thursday, gnocchi, and trippa if you are in Rome. So we now have all the ingredients that we need for making our delicious Italian cuisine. So what is Italian cuisine about nowadays? It is about freshness and fresh herbs. So we like to have fresh ingredients, fresh fish, fresh meat, fresh chicken, and also the fresh herbs. And why the fresh herbs? Because what we think as taste is actually mostly smell, because in our mouth we can only taste four things: sweet, salt, sour, and bitter. But in our nose we can smell thousands of combinations of aromas, and then your brain puts together information from the nose and from the mouth into one idea of taste. This is why when you go in somebody's house, you go, what's cooking today? And you don't go, oh, what's cooking today? No, correct? So, and also the proof of that is that when you have a cold, you can't taste your food. And because your nose is blocked, and your brain is only getting maybe 10% or 20% of the information that it normally gets, because in your nose there are you can smell thousands of combinations of aromas, which then your brain puts together with the smell. But really, it's mostly smell. So herbs make your food so much more delicious, especially fresh herbs. Don't buy dried herbs, except for oregano. Oregano is the only one that you're supposed to use dry, because the fresh herbs are so much more aromatic, and nowadays you can buy them in the supermarket, you can buy them in a garden center, and they're cheap. You keep them by your windowsill or outside when it's warm, and you always have fresh herbs, and they're cheaper than buying a packet of herbs in the supermarket, believe me. So, let's talk about the herbs. For example, we have the celery, which is a herb which is very, very delicious, and is used often together with carrot and onion as a combination to make many soups and sauces. And then we have another herb which I have over here. Parsley. So parsley is relative of celery, and is used, can be used raw or cooked with fish or with meat, with vegetables or with mushrooms, and gives a note of freshness to all the dishes that is used with. And then we have basil, and fresh basil is Italy's most representative herb, and it's the perfect match with tomatoes. So when tomatoes arrived from the Americas and met basil, they fell in love. So tomato said, "Oh, you're beautiful and green, you smell so nice." And she said, "Oh, you're so nice and shiny and delicious." So they fell in love and they got married. And they went on honeymoon to the island of Capri and gave birth to a beautiful child, mozzarella alla caprese, which everybody enjoys still today. Then we have rosemary. Rosemary is very, very popular in Tuscany, especially where we are. We put it almost everywhere except in the tiramisu. And it's a strong smell. It goes mostly with dark meats like pork, rabbit, and lamb, for example. Lamb, tomorrow is Easter. We're going to make lamb with rosemary, of course. And then we have sage, so rosemary, strong meats. Then we have sage, which is usually associated with white meats like chicken or veal. For example, veal saltimbocca or chicken cacciatore. But also can often be used together with rosemary and sage, for example, for roast potatoes or for roast chicken, roast rabbit. It's also delicious. Then we have this is fresh oregano, for example. Fresh oregano is really smells more like marjoram. Fresh oregano is the only herb that's better dried. So oregano is picked when it's in flower. So you can see that this is mostly flowers, not many leaves. And at this point it develops most of its aroma, because the plant makes its flowers aromatic to attract insects for pollination. It hardly has any leaves anymore. So it's picked when it's in flower and dried. Often people dry it in their kitchens and put little bunches like that. You can still collect it wild in Sicily and around Naples. And so this is the only one that's better dried than fresh. And it's only used almost only with pizza, and few other preparations, but mostly with pizza. Bene, so there is another herb which is bay leaf, which I forgot to put on the display today. But bay leaf is also very important because it is used in many sauces, although you don't eat that herb because it's a tough leaf. And also strong tasting, although when you smell it fresh it smells delicate, but bay leaf is important, for example, in the stock and in the ragu and in stews like veal stew or beef stew or wild boar, for example. So we got interrupted because the camera ran out of space in the chip, and we were talking about bay leaf, and this is the end of this lesson. for today, but we are going to be talking in the next segment about the types of flour we use in Italy, what they use for, and the types of rice, and later on also the types of olive oil. In the meantime, if you like, you can look up my website www.cucina-italiana.com. I don't have to spell that one. And you can maybe see if you like one of my cooking programs for your next trip to Italy. Don't forget to look me up. We also have 2 lovely hotels in Pisa, Relè dei Fiori, Relè dell'Orologio, and another bed and breakfast in Lucca, a new one called Il Giardino di Lucca. And so please don't forget to look me up because this year we have no business. And we'll be producing at least 1 or 2 of these lessons every week that you can look up, and if you want you can donate something. Thank you very much, and see you later.